Hi, folks. Good afternoon, and welcome to the seminar on driving driver training. Today, we are going to have Harry Stork present a little bit. He's going to start the introduction for the seminar, and then we have Jim Patterson, who is going to be speaking from Driving Dynamics. As you guys all know, training is an integral component of improving driver behavior. Studies after studies have shown that not just training one time, but continuous training is important for improving the driver behavior. So Jim is going to help us understand how using their tools, you can facilitate better driver training. So Harry, without further ado, let me pass on to you.
All right, well, thank you. And thank you everyone for joining in our continuing webinar series. Each month we invite one of our marketplace vendors to provide an overview of their platform. This month we have Driving Dynamics, a company that I have worked with personally for many years. And their founder, Art Liggio, or our president, Art Liggio, recently inducted into the Fleet Hall of Fame. So their team is very strong. They offer a very comprehensive LMS platform for learning management for heavy duty trucking and for light duty assets. And then also a few years ago, Driving Dynamics did a strategic acquisition for the Center for Transportation Safety. And that organization is all very skilled at a more intimate level of engagement with behind the wheel driver training. Whether they do that at your property, at a mutually agreed upon site, in a vehicle with your driver, leveraging the power of simulators and so forth. So today we have Jim Patterson from Driving Dynamics to give an overview. And Jim, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Harry. Let me grab my screen here. Just a moment. Good afternoon, everyone. So I am Jim Patterson. I am the Director of Commercial Motor Vehicle Safety Training for Driving Dynamics and primarily Center for Transportation Safety and CTS Driving Academy, which is our commercial training outlet. We have been in this industry for quite a few years. So I've actually been in the industry now 30 years plus as director of CTS and as Driving Dynamics since the early 2000s. So my experience in the industry has led us to understand the needs of our commercial clients. We do both corporate to corporate training as well as academic training through our partnerships with certain colleges. To give you a further overview of the company, so Driving Dynamics, our mission is to highly lower fleet crash rates through direct training, whether that be behind the wheel training or through our LMS platforms, and improve the driver's ability to stay safe while operating on our roadways. We do this through the delivery of our proprietary training, whether that be at the company's facilities or whether that be across the country. We've actually trained over 500,000 drivers in our system through both passenger cars and heavy duty vehicles. Again, the company was founded some 33 years ago. We have a lot of experience in the industry. We've been awarded many awards, including Top 20 Training Company and 10 Apex Awards. We offer more than 20 virtual and hands-on services across 3 lines of our business. And other than North America, we also have an outlet to handle training in about 90 plus countries in the world. So we've done a lot with different companies and different entities. But to show you what Center for Transportation Safety is, again, we are the commercial side of the business. We offer anywhere from novice training, which is our Class B or Class A entry-level driver training, individuals who require refresher coursing, excuse me, sorry, didn't mean for that to happen, refresher and endorsement training. We have trailer maneuvering, so what we call close quarter or trailer jockey. We have a Train the Trainer course for those companies that are looking to provide their own training services using our techniques, which include training adult learners and understanding federal motor carrier regulations and requirements. Individuals looking to upgrade their certificates, recertification, again, as Harry mentioned, simulation training, which I'll cover again later here in this program. And then special delivery customized programs for companies that need specialized training, like the oil service industry, which we've done for many, many years. Okay. One of the case studies for training is something that was done by federal motor carriers. And it's something that we've seen over the years change. So many years ago, 30 years ago, when I started this industry, we used to see a lot of younger individuals entering the commercial motor vehicle world. Those who had experience with either heavy duty equipment, agricultural equipment, somewhere in that format. Back in about 2007, 2008, we started to see a change, and this resulted from a change in our economy where a lot of individuals had lost their jobs. We started to see more aged individuals entering the world of commercial motor vehicle training, individuals in their 30s and 40s. And what we began to see was a change in accidents that were occurring with this age group. And primarily it was due to the fact that these individuals either had preset knowledge of defensive driving, or they had not received defensive driver training since probably high school. They had adapted their own form of driving and were reluctant to change. So all of these individuals entered our world. And once they do, many of the CDL providers, or I'm sorry, OTR driving companies or other companies that were obtaining these individuals were not expanding upon that knowledge, or not offering defensive driver training or even evaluations of these drivers. But we were always able to take a look at this and determine that these individuals would have definitely benefited from competency evaluations, additional behind the wheel training, a better understanding of cognitive and perceptual skills, and then a high emphasis on behavior and motivation. So something that they were not receiving, something many are still not receiving in this industry that would benefit from these. Okay. One of the case studies that kind of supported this was actually one that we did up in Wyoming, starting in mid-2004, 2005. The state of Wyoming itself started to see major crashes, rollover crashes, and many of them being 1 to 2 to 3 a day due to an increase in oil service providers being in the area. They saw that injuries and deaths were way up over the previous 5-year period, and they actually looked to the companies to provide a solution. One of those companies came to us looking for a solution to the rollovers of their nitrogen vehicles and their high center of gravity vehicles. And we were able to determine that much of that was a result of fatigue in the industry. There were a lot of soft shoulder rollovers, high speed turns. And of course, in that area, a lot of animals and night driving was taking place. As a result, we created a course for the company that incorporated journey management. So this was the individual assessing their own conditions, the conditions of the roadways, the conditions of the vehicle itself, and then incorporated a defensive driver training program, which incorporated simulation to show them how to recover from soft shoulders, how to keep the vehicle on the roadway, and then incorporated a driver evaluation process and recertification program every 2 years. And a result of our efforts and many of the efforts of other companies in the area, the first 12 months of that training program, we saw 50% fewer incidents. After that, additional 38% fewer incidents. And then over the long term, they remained at or lower than the levels of the first year. So it was definitely a benefit to the companies. It's one that we still do to this day. We've actually been doing it now 16 years, and they've seen a lot of value out of it. So using our best practices, We always feel that training is the best way to address the individual, whether that be through an LMS program or behind the wheel face-to-face. Then doing an audit of the individual's skill level, maybe a year or 2 years later, and refreshing those individuals as required. Our approach is quite simple. We try to get the individuals to not only see where they're going, but understand what they're seeing, searching for hazards, evaluating any risks, and then executing a plan of escape. We incorporate our 1 second advantage, which gives the individual tracking ability or following distance, increased following distance, watching where they're going, using a grip and slide steering technique, and then of course, allowing them to brake smoothly and anticipate any issues that may be ahead of them. And additionally, changing their behaviors. So making them conscious of any influencing factors on the roadways, making good judgments based upon what they see, and then adjusting for any traffic situations and maximizing their vehicle control. Our hierarchy is quite easy for us to teach, but difficult for many people to understand. So acknowledging their choices and behaviors, how that affects their driving, creating a good journey management program for every individual, whether traveling a light duty vehicle or a commercial motor vehicle. So organizing their critical thinking, assessing their own risk management, the risk management of the vehicle, the environment, the time of day, all of those situations. Making them aware of all the traffic environments, their situational awareness, and then providing them with competent vehicle control. So hardwiring those basic skills and maneuvers that they've learned over the years. Okay. If there's any questions regarding how we do or what we do, please, now is a good time for that.
Yeah.
So Harry, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Jim. Actually, I'll take over. So folks, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen to submit those questions. What I will do now is take a few minutes to take you through the protective marketplace, and I'll share my screen and navigate to the solution card for driving dynamics. I'll also put the URL for the protective marketplace in the chat button here. So let me go to chat so that in case you guys would like to navigate to the marketplace on your own, please feel free to use the chat function to click on the link. So as you guys, most of you must have been to the protective insurance marketplace. A few things have changed here, but essentially, as you come to the marketplace homepage, you'll see all these categories of solutions on the left side. The driving dynamic solution is under the driver training category. So either you can scroll through all the cards and get to it, or an easier way to get to it is by clicking on the driver training category. You'll see the drive active solution card for the heavy duty vehicles is over here. As you open the card, there's a short description about what this solution is. You know, you generally have a library, an LMS of 20 to 30 minute safety lessons that are in as a part of this solution that Driving Dynamics offers. By the way, Jim also mentioned the simulated training and a few other types of learning courses that they have. So what I would suggest is there is basically, you can apply for a free trial through the solution card, or there is a wizard, 4-screen wizard that you can submit your question. So in case you're interested in the simulation training or any other type of driving dynamics solution, please just go to request info, go through those 3 or 4 screens and submit your inquiry. Somebody from Driving Dynamics will get in touch with you once you submit this request info, if you will, using the solution card. You can see the pricing for their library itself. The starting price over here is listed here. This is an annual price per driver, if you will. So if you want to break it down by monthly, obviously just divide it by 12. As you scroll down the card, you'll see a longer description about what all is included in that LMS. There's also, as you scroll down, you'll see some images that and a YouTube video from Art that you can get a little bit more information about what is it that they do. Who is it for? So obviously we are focusing on the heavy duty trucks. So that is sort of highlighted over here. This is essentially where you come to either apply for a free trial, or if you have additional questions about their products and solutions, please submit a request info. Just click on the button and submit that information through there. And somebody from Driving Dynamics will get in touch with you. Going back to the main page, if you have any quick questions, we also have a chatbot feature on the website. Also, following the webinar, we are recording this webinar. If you would like to come back and view it, it will be along with the other webinars posted here under the resource section. So with that, I will go to the Q&A. There is one question. Question is, can you provide more details around the auditing process after drivers have completed their initial training? Jim?
Certainly. So we do many things here. So after our initial training with the company, we would typically assess the individuals based upon federal motor carrier regulations, completing a driver certification. And then the company itself would establish a return visit for refresher training. Some companies do it every year, some do it every 2 years. It just depends upon their own needs. We will go back in, assess any incidents that may have occurred with all drivers that we've trained at the location, and then refresh those individuals based upon our, what we've seen or what the company has seen. Typically, when we're going back in for refresher, we change up the course, making it more advanced, and we've had great success with that.
Jim, another question that we have gotten is around your simulated training. Could you please describe how that solution works?
Certainly. So every company itself is kind of designated what their issues may be. And a good example is a company that does beverage delivery. So they find themselves in close quarter maneuver areas. They're delivering in the cities, going to the 7-Elevens and whatever places they have to deliver their product. Where we cannot get into those situations with a driver on the roadway, we're able to utilize the simulator to put the individual into those close quarter areas. So that's one example, just to see how they handle, how they're viewing their mirrors, how they're checking the areas around them. Did they do a journey management? Did they look at the location they were going into prior to entering? So those types of things could be done in simulation. Same as like winter driving. I mentioned already soft shoulder recovery, which every company has issues with, whether it be an OTR company or others. We're able to put them into situations that we could not normally put them into on the roadway with the public.
Are these types of the simulation training, is that generally on site or is that done through an online portal?
It is done on site. We do have advanced simulations that are simulators that we have in our trailers that we take to the customer site, where we can provide 15 to 25 individuals in a day simulation training.
Great. And is that included in the price that you show on this solution card on the Protective Marketplace?
I do not believe it is. Admit, we'd have to look at that individually. It's also based on the distance of travel that we're going to. So
essentially you're saying that that is a custom price based on the exact requirements of the customer and how far do you have to go to conduct that training?
And the number of sites they may want us to go to.
Yeah, and Ahmed, I'd like to add that I have personally been through the simulator training. So, for the LMS platform, that is a little bit easier to price. It's a annual fee per driver. You can break it down per month, but based on the individual needs that a fleet may have for more customized training, whether it be with simulators, train the trainer behind the wheel, that pricing model is typically more of a scope of work. It covers things such as any logistics with mobilizing equipment. If there was not room to have training on a fleet's property, Driving Dynamics can rent hotel space, to do classroom training. So it's a phenomenal training that can be customized to the individual client's needs.
Wonderful. So just to reiterate, if somebody is interested in that, the best way to contact a driving dynamics is to go into the solution card, click on the request info, and just there's 3 or 4 questions there you fill out, and then hit send. At that point, somebody from Driving Dynamics will get back to you. Jim, another question in terms of for the Drive Active training LMS modules, are they available through any sort of a format, whether it is a mobile device, any form factor, or is it limited to computer, laptop, or desktop computers?
No, it's accessible by cell phone, whether that be an iPhone or any other type of device, tablets as well. So it's accessible by all.
Wonderful, wonderful. And typically, how long does it take when somebody decides to take advantage of this? How long does it take to onboard them and set up a training schedule? And what's the process there to set up that training schedule for their drivers?
So unfortunately, Tracy's not with us today. She would be able to answer those questions for you, but typically onboarding is pretty quick. We typically will only require a list of drivers that they want to utilize, or if they want to do it for the entire company, we can set them up that way as well. And they determine, which individuals they'd like to have take the programs. But the process itself is fairly simple.
That's great. And typically, based on your knowledge, you've been in the industry for so long, what is a best practice? How many modules do you recommend that a driver within a company take? What's the best practice there on a monthly basis? Or is there a cadence that you have seen that works really well to, as you were describing, reduce the severity and frequency of accidents?
I think it seriously depends upon the driver themselves. So if the company has seen issues, we've seen companies put them through an entire program. Say they're post-accident, for an example, or even if it's close quarter areas, they'll concentrate on those areas of the modules before doing it. But like I mentioned earlier, there are many drivers out there who have not experienced an effective defensive driver training course in many, many years. Some, like I said, since high school. So I think they all benefit from the entire program, but it is up to the company to choose those that they'd like to present based upon what is currently going on with the driver.
Yeah, I think I would add to that, Jim, that we've seen, a wide variety of usage, but just an example could be that fleets that are maybe bringing on a brand new driver would require a certain number of classes. They may have a schedule of a course a month or quarterly. They could be seasonal, harsh weather driving. Many companies customize their utilization, as you mentioned, Jim, post-accident. Maybe there's refresher training there. So the team at Driving Dynamics will work with the fleet safety team to create a frequency and cadence that just works best for your organization. The beauty is it's one fee for unlimited access for the online platform, so you can really structure that in a way that makes the most sense for your organization.
That's great insight, Harry. Thank you.
Yes.
Folks, any other questions before we wrap up today's webinar? Okay, I do not see any other questions. So thank you so kindly, everybody, for joining and spending a few minutes with us of your busy day. We look forward to seeing you again on next month's webinar. Have a great day. Thank you.